Art has no nationality, a point often missed by the authorities when trying to adapt the intangible as just another job, especially when appeasing local employment figures. As and when we're informed, WhoDoesWhat.tv covers what seems to be like a plethora of local and overseas artists plying their wares at the Government Art Centre and so on, but apparently there's room for much more. During March, 3 such Bahrain-based artists are displaying very different works in a participation exhibition at the Hend Gallery in Muharraq, just down the road from the airport. First up, with many solo exhibitions to her credit, is award-winning Areej Rajab, who is Bahraini all-round and a full-time artist of striking abstract prowess. Areej first took up the palette when she was about 3, and it's been non-stop since. Areej explains that there is more to her gift than just abstract.
It's more towards abstract expressionism, where you really depend on colors to express rather than forms and shapes and stuff like that. I do portraits, I do figures, and I do abstracts, of course, but mainly it's depending on the color to express rather than the object itself. Well, every painting has its own theme, but mostly I depend on colors, as I said, and it's all building up, like building layer after layer.
Asking Areej if she thinks all artists are temperamental, you get an emphatic no. So for her, there must be a utopia moment when a work is considered done.
Yes, of course, and I celebrate the piece. When it has to stop, it just stops.
As mentioned, from a visitor or perhaps many expatriates' perception, the Bahrain art scene might appear to be a little cloaked, but that isn't the case.
Yes, it's blooming, it's growing, it's blooming, and people are really out there to display their arts. They're just waiting for an opportunity to do so.
Do you think there's enough being done at a higher level?
There's never enough to be done. I mean, we have a lot of artists here just ready to display their works. There's never enough to be done.
As I said, not all Bahrain-based artists are Bahraini, and of countless exhibits is Meriel Cooper Wallace, who's been in Bahrain for over 11 years and married to an American. Born in England, but grew up in her idyllic Kenya with a couple of pet chameleons called George and Mary. Eventually back to England, and then on to Washington, D.C. she went, working for the World Bank, which is where Meriel, in her frustrating search for someone to teach her technique, found what she was looking for. So what sort of artist does Meriel describe herself as?
I don't, really, because it pins you down too much. I just say I'm a professional watercolorist and frequently use mixed media.
And not all watercolor?
No. I occasionally use acrylic if I want something with a bit more bicep. In that yellow, for example, I used some acrylic. I use watercolor pencils, I use greasy crayons, I use special stuff that's manufactured that changes the surface of the paper when I want it to. Those sort of things.
And does Meriel think the Bahrain art scene is coming of age?
Well, it's vibrant, but it's not helped enough. You know, we desperately need another gallery like this that has ever-changing exhibitions and a panel of judges, for example, so that those of us who like to exhibit and are lucky enough to be chosen would constantly have work on the move.
A panel of judges, Well, Bahrain and the entire area culture is somewhat mollycoddling, whereas intimated, misplaced, ill-perceived intangible art is given as a job, so often promotes incompetence, as we see in broadcast. So with a panel of so-called judges, will Meriel accept criticism?
I like criticism from people I know what they're talking about very much and value it hugely.
You'd better know your stuff then, because beneath Meriel's casual exterior lies an obsession.
Oh, artists that can't stop themselves. Without a doubt, totally obsessed.
And then we come on to the more Cubism Picasso style, if you like, and Mohamed Nashaat, who is originally from Egypt, a professional artist of repute with a Bachelor of Fine Arts to his name, who teaches art at the Muharraq Secondary Boys' School. Mohamed appears extremely happy, saying that this Hend Gallery exhibition has been well patronised, and so far successful sales have been achieved. So how does Mohamed see his art?
أنا في شغلي ما بنتميش لمدرسة محددة.
In my work, I don't follow one specific school, but I loved Cubism and have digested, or rather managed to digest, all the previous schools of art. Perhaps Cubism and Expressionism will show the most in my work, but I like to express myself in my art without adhering to any one school of art.
بدون ما التزم بمدرسة محددة.
Once again, this is a lifelong vocation for Mohamed, and he takes us back to the beginnings.
In Cairo,
In Cairo 2001, my first exhibition was at the American Embassy, and that was the start where I delved deep into the art. After I did an exhibition and participated in the youth salon. This is an Egyptian fair for experimental arts.
عملت بعديها معرض كمان وشاركت في صالون الشباب. عملت دراسات بتاعتي تمهيدي الماجستير.
I did my master's and then came to Bahrain in 2006.
بعديها جيت على البحرين في 2006.
And we have to ask, what does Mohamed think about the Bahrain art scene?
هي الحركة الفنية في البحرين طبعا من الفن المعاصر واضح بشكل جيد مع الفنانين البحرينيين. بدأت ألتقي وأتعرف بيهم.
The Bahrain art movement is contemporary and clearly visible. I've managed to meet Bahraini artists and become acquainted with them through exhibitions, the museum and other galleries. It's a fine arts movement that expresses the Bahraini and Arab artists, using contemporary materials and diverse styles. To increase my wealth and knowledge, I try to visit each gallery and benefit from the visual storage and methods the artists use with their styles.
أو يحصل عندي مخزون بصري من أسلوب الفنان وطريقة شغله. ده أسرى وأضاف لي وأنا بشتغل أو وأنا بكمل في مجال الفن.
Is it ever fair to ask an artist if they have a favorite? But
all painting it's favorite for me, but this one it's a special work for me because it's بالعربي يعني انفعال قوي فيه.
It has a very strong expression. That is more expression than the rest.
في الشغل بس انفعال يعني.
Well, there you go. And Mohamed would also like to see more exhibitions in Bahrain. We are here. This is Greg Hopkins for WhoDoesWhat.tv.